Hello and welcome to this episode of Lab Time, small little seminar. Today we're gonna take a look at Beat Repeat. And if we open Beat Repeat up, some people know it, and other people seen this for the first time as like they don't know what it is. And sometimes the one that knows it doesn't know it, kind of just tries what it's doing. But Beat Repeat is just a small little loop it makes of the existing sound that it gets. So a lot of people use Beat Repeat to do like small variations of glitchiness over drums. I use it for a lot of different things, also melodies and all kinds of stuff. And it is actually pretty simple when it comes to it. But in this video here, or lecture here, I will show every parameter, what it does and why it does it, and then afterwards I'll do my own little preset on it with some LFOs, random LFOs, and do some even more glitchy, crazy stuff with it, because it is almost kind of really crazy, this machine. And if we kind of zoom into it, let's have the camera with us. Let's fire up the drums. So right now you can hear what it does. It makes a 16-note repetition in one bar, and you can see it here is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this is the repetition it makes, and this is the interval. We can set this for, and we'll just make a loop. Now it kind of disappears. So 8 is what it's set for normal. But 1 bar is what I would set it for normally, or maybe more. It depends on the settings. We'll jump over offset to begin with. Then we can have the speed. And the fast I say, so you can see you can also make kind of rhythms out of it. It's pretty versatile plugin. We have no triplets. But right now you can see this is 16th, 8th, 3rd. So we don't actually have triplets in here. That happens if we do this and do the variation. So the variation is the variation of the grid. So if we do this and open up for 10, the more it is, the more different it would be. So now you can see it gets, there was the triplets, right? So if we don't want the triplets in here, we can say no triplets. So it will kind of just don't go triplets. We can also set this trigger here, let's say 4th. Then it won't go to these crazy amounts. Like we can go like right up here, right? And you can see the grid in here as well, if you can see how many divisions there is here. We can set this to auto. Then it will be more in the line that will kind of jump. If this is set to trigger, it's the whole thing that will just randomize the fast how it's going. But if it's set to auto, it could change in the middle here as well. So now it will be more kind of rhythmical. Now it'll just be steady. Now this doesn't have any effect if this is on 0. If we have this on, let's say 1, the change is very small. So the more it is, the more variation it will have. Cool. So let's set it to trigger. So the next thing is that we have actually a filter as well, and it's not about the sound. It's more of the glitchy that gets the filter. So we can have this if it's the hi-hats, but it's clicking on the kick right now. So let's set the offset to about maybe here. Now it's a hi-hat. So now we can make these hip hop things. We could have, if this was the bass, we can go to. So we can kind of control where the sound, the glitchiness should be. Unfortunately, there's no way to there's no LFO to do this. So that we'll come into that later, where we're gonna set these parameters to something else. So everything is mappable in here. So let's offset this now. I told you that you can see that's where it's going to be triggered at this sample, or this loop, one bar loop. So let's take the variation down so we can listen to it. That's pretty nice. The gate underneath is how long is this repetition. So we can have this go only one. Let's have it on maybe the kick. And let's have it on 2. So we can kind of control how long. We can also just set it, and it'll just go, right? We can also say that we want this, if this is on the kick, we can have this decay on it, and then it will. Cool. Right now we have this, that's going every 1 bar and it will be triggered. But we have this chance over here that when it's going to be fired up. So 38% or 39% it will come in. There we go. We also have this repeat, and that will repeat every time you just hold it in. So, and we can also map that to something we could select or click on it, right? So we also have these 3 settings. Right now it's mixed in, so it will be here. If we have it on in, then it will just take out the loop and just have it solo while it's going, and then the drums will come in again. So if we click this, and we'll cut out the drums. Let's take the chance up fully, then we can see what's doing. The gate is the opposite. That's only we can't hear the drums at all. So it's kind of like a dry, wet-ish. And then we can do the variation. So we can also make these really nice loop jumps. And then the decay. Some more gate. Okay, set the volume up. And it's only, if it's in the mix, the volume is only on the loop part. Okay? So we can make it pretty nice. Now we have the little fun part here is the pitch. I left that to the end. So let's just have this doing this. But let's have it on gate so we can fully hear what's going on. And take the variation down. Maybe up. Like that. So when we turn off for the pitch, it will go down in pitch. Okay? The fun part is the pitch decay. So, and the variation. And that's pretty much it for this machine. That's what it does. It is actually pretty simple, all the small little parameters in here. One thing, if they left LFO, you could assign to stuff, so we could kind of let this go. But let's put in an LFO and assign this to the offset. And we have to click remote, so then this would start to, and then have this going to stray, then it's randomized curve. Right? We will have this before, and then we're gonna group these, because then we have this, and I'll just take this out of the equation out here. It doesn't matter, it's still going, because then we can put it underneath. We just don't want to hear it. And now we can duplicate this, so we can call this offset. And we can call this, let's see what we will have to have here, frequency. So we're gonna map this to a frequency. And then we're gonna duplicate the frequency, and we're gonna do this to the width, map this to the width. And again, we can do it to, if we take the variation down and duplicate this and call this variation, and do it on the grid instead. Because now we get this really glitchy stuff. So now we get these really nice things. We can do this with duplicate and do decay length, but decay volume. Map this to the decay. So now we're in glitchy territory. You could do it with everything in here, but just here it makes sense. I would kind of stop here. We could also do it with the let's do it with the interval. And map this to intervals. So now we get this. And then in here, I would take like one of these as well, and just delete this and call this dry, and set it on top. Let's just have it on red, and this one on yellow, and the other ones just have this color, because now we can put it on something else. We could copy this rack here up to the melody stuff, And now we can also mix this if we want to. So it's just transparent. And now we can start this, this is just a house loop I put in. So now we can, right, just some happy stuff, but so instead of the drive, we're taking down the dry a little bit and push it. You could have on the dry or we could on this one we could put a delay on the beat repeat. Take this on the top. Make these glitchy things. And we can call this, let's put this on top so we have something and close this down. Call this that. So now we have a crazy glitch machine you can just put in. You can also just have this and then you can kind of minimize how much you want it by going into the offset here and take the depth. We could go in and say, okay, we want to copy this to macro 1, right click it again and map to all siblings. Because now we have our beat repeat, and then we can just say this is also red and have this one knob that we could go in and say, okay, how much, now we can control how much we want on it, when we want it. And we can have this setting on 1 and set this 2 seconds to this one, so, and go into our map and say depth here, device on. We have to set this on 1. 1 and 0. So now it's closed. And just if we push a little bit, it starts. And then we can set how much we want on the offset. And now it's off, so we don't hear it. Yes, questions? Yes. It goes to all. It goes to all the LFOs that has the same. So it says we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, 6 because it was 5 more than the one we have, so we don't have to go in and map each one, you know. So that's very important when you map one. Let's say we will have one more that control the rate, because that could be nice as well. So now I right click it after I mapped it here, and now you can see I can call all siblings. I can also say that if I set the rate, which everything should be like that. But let's say just call all siblings. So now you can see everything is mapped down here. Okay, so now we can change the rate as well. So let's turn it on. So we can go crazy on both if we want to, but let's say the offset. Glitchy shit. Any more questions? Does it make sense now? It's like every small parameter is actually not that difficult to understand if you know what everything does, because it is fairly simple to understand, but now you can kind of build this machine yourself, and you can put it on everything that should have these glitchy things. But the machine is also really nice to make kind of like hi-hat loops. It's the same as using the ARP to do that. Here it's just a little more glitchiness to it. Also because you can make it a tail with it. You can't do that in the ARP, and yeah. It's really nice for sound designing as well, and yeah. You could also have one that would, let's say, we'll put in one more that says that I don't want to, the chain volume, or this is going to be called dry volume, and then in map here you will set this to 0, so you never go over. So you can just crank up the volume for this, and we can have this called glitch volume, and the same goes for this here, and then this one also goes to 0 max. So now we can kind of mix in the two different so the only thing is we have to change them the opposite way. So this is going to be 0 and 0 and nothing. So now we're turning up to 0. No, was it right before? Yeah, it was right. Sorry, that was me. I just thought it was going to be the other way. So 0 and 0. I did it just the opposite. Sorry guys, I'm gonna delete unmap, and then this one unmap. So the beat repeat here is going to be glitch volume. So we can take the glitch volume off, and here it's going to be dry, and then map this to 0 and 0. So it's only, so now it works. So now we have psychedelic trance with a house beat. Cool? Yeah, that was it. Any more questions? Cool? Yeah. Cool. Thank you for today, and hope to see you next Wednesday.